Hey guys, MuddledMuppet here, how you doing? I thought, new year, and what I really should be doing is having a look and thinking, well, what was my game of the year for 2012? I was going to do this big kind of rundown thing, going through all the different games and everything like that. But, actually, after a little bit of thinking about it, there was no doubt in my mind at all. Has to be Gotham City Impostors. Now, Gotham City Impostors does have its problems, and I'm going to be discussing those in a minute. But if I have a look at some of the other games that I've had this year, there's been a lot of major disappointments, I guess, in some way or another. You know, Battlefield 3, it was good, but I actually preferred Battlefield 2. The Call of Duty, the Black Ops, you know, I haven't played those since about Modern Warfare 2, and it was practically the same as Modern Warfare 2, really. Assassin's Creed 3, I got it, and I just kept playing forever thinking, when does it get to the part of the videos that I've seen, you know, when do you get to play the main character and stuff, and by the time I got around to that, I was actually starting to lose interest in the game. And I think Assassin's Creed 2 did it better, you know. And most of the games, Borderlands was the same. Apart from the comms, because the voice comms on Borderlands 1 were terrible on the PlayStation. But apart from that, I think Borderlands 1 was a better game than Borderlands 2. Now, there was this big debate and discussion going on in the Borderlands forums about drop rates. You know, it's a looting game, and a big part of the fun on Borderlands is picking up weapons and, you know, opening crates and all that sort of stuff. And there was a lot of debate about it on the forums. A lot of people weren't happy, and then Andy Pritchard came out with this famous tweet of, well, the drops are better in real life. Really? Thank you for that. Because, you know, I was about to make the point that drops are better in real life than they are in a video game. And it just seemed like such a fucking arrogant comment to make, you know. It just seemed like a real fuck you to the fans, the people that were buying the game and stuff. So, there was a few things that really just kind of got on my tits about it. And I was trying to think through of different games that I'd played. Most of the games that I was having fun with were games that were actually out the previous year. You know, things like Red Dead Redemption, Little Big Planet, games that had been out for a while. But the one game that really kept me coming back to it, despite its problems, and boy does it have its problems, is Gotham City Impostors. Which is kind of crazy. It's a download-only game. Now, I think that if Monolith had sorted out the problems and listened to the fan base about it, they would have had a game of the year, not just from MuddledMuppet, but a game of the year from a very large part of the gaming community. Totally original IP, I guess. You know, I know Batman's been going around for years, but Batman Impostors is a totally new idea. New concept. It's kind of a little bit like Team Fortress, but done better in a lot of ways. So much adaptability with how you make your characters. Did a reasonable job of balancing it. They did leave in some noob tubes that do way too much damage and have way too much ammo. There were some balancing problems. There were problems and still are problems with lobbies, server browsing doesn't have, etc, etc. So it really does have its problems. If they'd sorted those out, this could have been game of the year. Not just for me, like I say, but for gamers everywhere. Now, will they make a Gotham City Impostors 2? Nothing has been said. Monolith aren't the most communicative of guys. Like a lot of developers, a game comes out, and they tell everyone about it, and they get to a point they don't want to do any more on it, so they shut up and move on to a new game. In their case, they moved on to Guardians of Middle-earth, This has recently come out free on PlayStation Network Plus, and I got it, and you know what? It wasn't even worth playing for free. Not for me. I apologise to some of you guys if you're fans of it and you like it, but for me, I just didn't like it from the get-go. I didn't like the videos of it. Tried playing it, just wasn't for me. Gotham City Impostors, though, I will keep coming back to, and no matter how much I play it, no matter how many breaks I have with other games, I will keep coming back to it. A close contender could possibly be Hitman Absolution for Game of the Year for me, but I haven't really had my hands on it long enough to be able to say if there's any major problems with it. I've played, I think, about 3/4 of the campaign, and at the minute I'm having a lot of fun doing player-made contracts. Now, what would have undoubtedly been Game of the Year for me, and the game that I was looking forward to most of all, was Far Cry 3. But Ubisoft really have massively fucked up on this. There are so many problems with it. And again, we have no word about whether or not any of those problems are going to be fixed. If they fix them, it could well be a superb game. We don't know if they're working on it, and by the time that they do get around to fixing it, it may be too late, you know. People may move on to something else. Gotta say by now, that guy with the rocket launcher is really getting on my tits. This is one of the big problems with it, is that they put in this rocket launcher, high rate of fire, ridiculous amount of ammunition, and you get tossers like that guy who want to be the biggest guy with the most health, and they're going to use the most broken guns. You're always going to get people like that in any game. They will always look for the one that they can do the most damage with, you know, the one that is the easiest to use, etc, etc. So when game designers put broken weapons in a game, they lead to a broken game. Now, of course, all this was discussed heavily by the Gotham City Impostors community, and it was all ignored heavily by the Gotham City Impostors developers. As a general point, I don't know why developers don't listen to the fans. You know, nobody has the expectation nowadays that somebody's going to churn out an absolutely perfect game first crack out of the box. It would be nice if it happened, but realistically speaking, games are so complex nowadays that it's kind of not going to happen. And games do need to be fine-tuned, they need to be tweaked. And the best way to have that happen is to listen to your fans and respond to them. Now, I know some fans are going to come out with ridiculous demands and ridiculous suggestions, but when you have an overall consensus on a games forum for a game, there at least needs to be some debate and discussion back from developers. This is exactly what we're seeing with Ubisoft. They fucked up Assassin's Creed 3. They fucked up the Ghost Recon series. They fucked up the Far Cry series. A smaller developer like Monolith is in an ideal position to be able to listen to the player base. To listen to the fans, you know? I don't know. Anyway, what was your game of the year? What was the game that kept you coming back, despite its flaws? Or did you have a game that was absolutely flawless? There are some highly rated games of last year that I haven't even tried. I haven't tried Journey. I haven't tried The Walking Dead. And I probably owe it to those developers who tried to do something different to try those games out. So that's going to be on my to-do list for 2013. But yeah, let me know what your game of the year was and why. Look forward to hearing that stuff. Coming up to the end of the game now. I didn't do too bad, considering I was playing the weakest guy against this team of big fat fucks. You know what it is though? I'd rather lose like this than win like them. Does that make sense? Excuse me. I've just never been a player where winning has to be above everything, you know? Just never been like that. But I guess people will be people. Anyway, I wonder what we're going to get for 2013. Going to be interesting. We're about to get wiped here.
Next time, I'll lead.
There we go. I'm down. I'm out. This is Muppet out. Muppet? Muddle. This is Muppet out. Take it easy, guys. And if I haven't said it so far, which I don't think I have, all my subscribers, thanks very much for supporting me last year. And I hope 2013 is going to be a great year. Take it easy, guys. Bye.